Again. Oh. Let's try this again. One.
God bless America! And welcome to the Jaz McKay podcast extravaganza here on Kerncast. We welcome you this afternoon. Lugnut Larry is with me. We've got Goose over here behind the board running all the controls and whatnot. And it dawned on me last night, I'm about to turn 60 years old.
You are, man. You're getting really long in the tooth there.
I'm an old, grumpy old man. I've already started to get off my lawn stuff. You know?
That was posted on Facebook, you yelling at people.
Get off my lawn!
I walked by the other day, told me to get off his sidewalk.
Get off my sidewalk! You can't park that car there!
And I was just going to get a hamburger.
So I started thinking, what do I want for my birthday? And I came up with a list.
Oh, great!
13 things I really want for my birthday.
We're going to send them all to Oprah.
I want Hillary held accountable for her previous wrongdoings and breaking of the law. That would be nice. Number 2, let's put God back in America.
Amen.
You know, number 3, close those borders. You said you were going to close the borders. Let's close them up tight. Number 4 on my list of things I want for my birthday, I want Congress on the same retirement plans and health care plans that everybody else is. Also, speaking of Congress, how about Congress start obeying the laws they wrote?
Ooh,
for a change?
wow.
There's a thought.
Yeah.
And language. Sorry to say it, but language is English. The language is English. English only. 13 things I want for my birthday. Number 7, talking about culture. Let's face it. We have a Constitution and we have a Bill of Rights. And frankly, I think we ought to start obeying that. I think Congress should start obeying our Constitution for a change. And drugs. Number 8 on my list, mandatory drug screening before and during all welfare. Otherwise, if you're not on welfare, I could give a rat's ass if you want to shoot heroin or smoke pot. I really don't care. And number 9, freebies. Nothing to non-citizens. Number 10, the budget. Balance the damn thing, will ya? Number 11, foreign countries. Let's stop giving them money. We need that money here at home. Number 12, term limits for Congress.
Amen.
There's just common sense right there.
Right.
And above all else, number 13, respect our military, respect our police, and respect the flag. Those are the 13 things that I want for my birthday, which is August 4th, a week from this Saturday. I turn 60 years of age. I don't think you can call me a boy anymore.
No. What's the address here, Goose, for people who want to send money?
If they'd like to send money to the studio.
2231 R Street
Yeah.
in Bakersfield, California. I have no idea what the zip code is, but you can look it up.
Just
Yeah.
send cash.
Please.
Send me pictures of dead presidents. Go through mommy and daddy's wallet and purse, boys and girls, and see if you can find pictures of the president.
Yeah, a lot of Benjamins.
Yeah.
Yeah, look for him in particular.
Wait a minute, he wasn't president.
No, he wasn't.
Statesman.
Statesman.
America's statesman.
Yeah, that'll
find
work.
pictures of
Put
America's
that
statesman
Benjamin in there.
I can't be called a boy anymore. I like to think of myself as a young man still, but I can't be. But I wonder, could I be a member of the Proud Boys? Have you heard of this?
I have heard of the Proud Boys. We're all members of the Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys is a group, and you can search them up, proudboysusa.com.
Great video.
And
Many
the
of
Proud
them.
Boys were actually the brainchild of a man by the name of Gavin McInnes. And I want to play some of this for you. This is Gavin McInnes explaining the origins of the Proud Boys and what the Proud Boys all stand for. Goose?
In 1840, when Alexis de Tocqueville came here, he said, "America is a nation of clubs." He was coming from a nation of homos called France. But outside of that weak province, the West was a nation of clubs. The Knights of Columbus, the Know-Nothings, the Shriners. We always had these clubs, and Gloria Steinem decreed them sexist in the 80s, and that was the end of clubs. So I thought, why don't we bring this back? Why don't we have a men's club? No parameters, just dudes. You have to be born male, by the way. And believe it or not, that has actually come up. I've had bull dykes come and go, can I be part of this? Sorry, no. Why not? We're never going to use this. And I go, yeah, just go to the Proud Boys girls and you'll be the most masculine one there as opposed to the most feminine man that we have in our club. Anyway, I gave away the name. But I started a men's club called the Proud Boys, and we have one caveat, and that is you have to be a Western chauvinist. Now, liberals are lazy, so they hear the word chauvinist and they assume male chauvinist, and that's why I use that word, because they're too lazy to look it up, and it just means a nationalist, a patriot. And you have to think the West is the best. And it exploded. There's thousands of members all over the world. There's Proud Boys Africa. There's Proud Boys Japan. We've got about 5 different divisions in Australia. And I just made it up. Like we're called Proud Boys because I went to one of my kids' music recitals and some ponce got up there, and while everyone's playing the piano and the violin and doing stuff they tried, he gets up and he goes, proud of your boy, I'll make you proud of your boy. It's some song from Aladdin. And I was looking around for the dad because I thought there's no way this dad is proud of his boy. And of course, he was the child of a single mom. Duh. His mother told him, yeah, sing a song, that's a talent. And there was no dad to say, no, you're not. Play the piano, for Christ's sakes. So we made up these rules. There's just like the Knights of Columbus, there's first degree, second degree, third degree. What's the second degree, Gav? And I went, you have to get beaten up by 5 men. For how long? Until you can name 5 breakfast cereals. Done. Third degree. What's a third degree, Gav? You have to quit porn and get a tattoo. Done. It's massive. I was saying to Ann Coulter the other day, I'd love to have you come and do a talk at one of our meetups, but you're a woman. I don't know how to do that. Maybe you could wear a burqa or something. Or you could do a video. And she goes, I don't want to come to your club. I don't want to ruin that. She goes, my father was in these kind of clubs. And one day they just disappeared. And what did men do? They were told it was sexist to congregate, so they went to strip clubs. Now, there's women there, but there's no ladies there. And you can fart, and you don't have to pull out chairs for anyone. You can tell offensive jokes. And this is considered a crime in today's day and age. And they tell us that we're racist and we're anti-Semitic. And I go, what about this black guy who's a member and this Jewish guy who's a member? And they go, they're racist and anti-Semitic. So this black guy's a white supremacist? Yes, he is. Well, that's handy. He can just sit at home and punch himself in the face all day. Like, I used to call it fake news, then I called it crazy news. It's crazy ex-girlfriend news. And these liberals are like, they're psychotic, calling black guys racist and Ben Shapiro a Nazi. I'm scared of them. I'm scared of them like a drunk chick. You know how she's just on the, right at any moment, she could start scratching your face and smashing balls, and you're like, hi, you should probably get a cab at some point. That's how we are with the left. And...
All right, now, that's just a little clip. I have the full clip on my Facebook page, and you can watch the whole thing. It's 11 minutes long. It is well worth your time. The Proud Boys. Now, Gavin McGinnis, have you guys ever heard of this guy before?
No, I never heard of him.
I'd seen him. I didn't know what his name was, but I'd seen him on YouTube and on Facebook for years. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was funny as hell. And I come to find out he started a website called Vice.com, which is a big conservative website. I don't know if he's still associated with it or not, but he starts this Proud Boys thing. And you heard, it was kind of like by accident, and he just kind of made it up. as he was going along. I love the line about, the degrees of the levels of Proud Boys. Third degree. You beat the crap out of him.
Name 5 breakfast cereals.
Well, he's very funny, but they're actually very serious.
Yeah.
They are the ones that will show up at protests to protect the conservatives, to protect the Trump voters.
They've been at many of them, as a matter of fact. You don't see them because the news doesn't put them on.
Well, we've got a clip. Do you have that other clip of the Proud Boys defending...
The Rufio clip?
The Rufio clip. Let's play this real quick here. It's only 19 seconds long. What it is a bunch of Antifa people coming in and facing off with the Proud Boys, who then, one of these guys, a guy comes at him, one of the Antifa guys, with a lead pipe, starts pounding on him, and watch the knockout. Watch the knockout. Rufio is what he calls himself, this Proud Boy. Watch this. Go ahead.
Don't give it. Hey, don't give it to the Nazis. Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? You're racist.
That is. You can't just watch that once.
No, you
cannot just watch that once.
It over and
you
over. You
got to watch it over and over again to really fully appreciate it. Rufio, he's my new hero. I mean, that guy, one punch, and he laid that Antifa out. And I love they have to drag him off. His feet dangling there. And notice the woman in black that steps up and gets
right
in
at
between.
the end. Yeah.
Typical of the left, hiding behind a woman. Antifa people hiding behind a woman, no different than ISIS. Let's take a break. Coming up, we're going to talk with John Hawkins. John Hawkins will be with us all the way from North Carolina, right here on the Jaz McKay podcast extravaganza on Kerncast.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Patriot Bail Bonds has the best customer service in Bakersfield. Patriot has more 5-star ratings than any bail company in Kern County. Plus, we're fast and affordable. If you run into the law, make Patriot Bail Bonds your first call. That's right, one call, that's all.
If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail.
And welcome back. This is the Jaz McKay podcast extravaganza. And on the phone with us right now, we've got John Hawkins. John, how are you, brother?
I am fantastic, Jaz. Great to be on with you, buddy.
It is good to have you with us. Now, up until yesterday, when you and I were talking on the phone about this appearance that, and I asked her what you wanted to talk about, you said the Proud Boys, and I was thinking, what's the Proud Boys? Sounds like a boy band out of Chicago or something, right?
In excess.
But tell everybody exactly who the Proud Boys are. We just saw Gavin McInnes's clip.
Well, Gavin McInnes started a group called the Proud Boys They were one of the things I mentioned. I don't think they're the only thing I tossed out there. But basically, they are a men's club, and they're an unusual men's club. If you listen to what they do on a day-to-day basis, they go to a lot of conservative events. They actually do just sort of like free ad hoc security for those events. And they're very interesting. Here's how you get into the club. The first level of being in it is by publicly declaring yourself a Proud Boy. The second is you have 5 other members come up and beat you until you can name 5 breakfast cereals. It also includes a vow to stop masturbating, which would be for some people. Then the third level of membership is getting a Proud Boy tattoo. And the last is engaging in physical violence with members of Antifa.
Yeah! Feats of strength. Now we just saw
basically, if there's going to be one of those things where Antifa's harassing people, they go out with them all. They are not loved on the left. You just had an incident not so long ago. A girl named Nia Wilson got knifed.
Right.
And I don't know how the whole thing turned into a big... there was a white guy that knifed her, but apparently, as far as I can tell, he's a crazy person.
Yeah, he's suffering from schizophrenia or something. Now, this happened, I want to say, was it this weekend? It was this weekend, right?
Sunday, I believe.
On Sunday, this poor woman with her sisters walking through a BART station in Oakland, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And then out of the blue, she's African-American, her sister's African-American, and this white dude comes up out of nowhere, stabs her in the neck, stabs her sister in the neck. Unfortunately, the woman you're speaking about died. And that's all that was known at the time. And the next day, the cops catch him, and he's arrested and he's charged with murder. And for some reason, John, out of the blue, of all the people or groups that could be responsible for this, and obviously the white man that stabbed the black woman, he is the one ultimately responsible. But they started blaming the Proud Boys.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. They pulled that name out of the hat. And so then the next thing was the Proud Boys are coming to disrupt Nia Wilson's memorial service. It's like, what? It's weird. Sean King did a long video on this. I mean, he was a scumbag, but that's another story. So anyway, so this thing's out there that the Proud Boys are coming to disrupt her after they stabbed her. It's like, oh, what are you talking about? So anyway, so near the memorial service, there happens to be some kind of Reddit subgroup that is supposed to meet at a restaurant. It's not at the memorial service. They're not going to protest. It's like just a bunch of Republicans who get together for dinner. It's like who go from out of town. Like if you had Jazz McKay fans who happen to be in San Francisco getting together for dinner somewhere.
Right.
So they're supposed to do this, and the next thing that comes out is the Proud Boys are meeting at this restaurant. It turned out to be five guys. So these guys they moved to a different restaurant. They don't want any problems. That's not whether they're just there to eat. They happen to be there, so they leave. So what happens is this crowd from the memorial service gets there and just beats up random people. They're Proud Boys. They're white. Get them. And so they
randomly beat. Were these any of the 5 people that were having dinner?
No, I read through that. Chased it down. These guys were from Reddit. They were a subgroup of Reddit, and they were just having like a dinner get-together. Like there's not even a lot of them there. And they just, when they saw that this was somehow had been attached to this whole thing, they just went to a different restaurant.
Right.
They're like, we don't need this problem. I don't know how we got into this, but we're going to go eat somewhere else, which was smart. So they did that, and like I say, a bunch of random people got beaten up. And again, it's all like Proud Boys. Well, the Proud Boys didn't do any of this. They had nothing to do with anything. But it's the same thing. It's like, oh, these guys are all nationalist, white, racist. They're not a white-only group. They're Black Proud Boys. They're Hispanic Proud Boys.
As a matter of fact, I posted the link on my Facebook page to their website, proudboysusa.com, and I asked people what they thought. And I have an Hispanic friend who jumped in and said, I'm definitely a Proud Boy. I'm a Western chauvinist, and I refuse to apologize for for creating this great modern world that we live in. Even as an Hispanic businessman, he sees he sees what the truth is here with the Proud Boys. Explain again now. I know Gavin McInnes he has a tendency. John, he has a tendency sometimes to push the envelope a little bit, don't you think?
Yes, he does. He does.
This.
What am I explaining? What do you want me to explain?
Yeah, please.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, they're a group Gavin McKay started. I'm not sure what I'm explaining, but again, one of the things is they're proud to be part of Western civilization. They're just a men's club. I actually looked up the possibility to see if I could join. There are no chapters in the South for whatever reason. Uh-huh. It's the one place where there are just no chapters at all. They have regions and they're in a bunch of big cities, but yeah, there's none here. The only other thing, they don't allow women. They have a Proud Boys Girls. They're like a separate chapter.
It's kind of like the Masons. It's a men's lodge. It's a men's club, but they have the Eastern Star, which is the club that the women belong to. Women are not allowed to join the Masons.
Well, men's clubs used to be really, really common in America, and that's one of the things that's happened over the last few decades. Is that all these groups that people used to go to and enjoy going to, the Elks, the Masons,
right.
All these types of groups, the Knights of Columbus, they've all faded. And that's just, I think part of that is just our connected world, that people feel like they're getting their social quota met online, which really isn't true. You feel like you're getting the same experience out of Twitter that you'd get going hanging out with 20 guys. It's not the same thing.
No.
So I love the idea of what the guy's doing. I think it's something that's good. I'd like to see more people copy it. The only downside to it, and it's not their fault, they didn't create the world, is it plays into this whole thing the left started. The left has gotten to the point where they try to make these protests violent. That's what Antifa does. They go in with the hope of starting violence. Now, usually they're a bunch of, okay, I can say this on the air, it's a podcast, they're a bunch of pussies.
I was just about to say.
I've seen these things over and over. When you see Antifa attacking someone, it's inevitably like 8 of them and one of the other person. And so as a big mob, they feel pretty comfortable attacking a woman or some old guy, or maybe it's like 8-on-1. They feel good about it. So they're really weenies. They really are. But they do this stuff all the time, and the police let them get out of hand. They let them run around with their little masks on. Now, why are you wearing a mask? In this situation, because you don't want people to see you breaking the law. You go out and they loot businesses, they attack people. We're anti-fascist, which is why we're going to beat everyone who disagrees with us.
They are absolutely fascists. They're absolutely fascists. Now, the Proud Boys will show up at these rallies to protect the conservatives, men, women, children, in some cases, from these violent Antifa fascists. And we just watched a video a few moments ago of an incident. I'm not sure where this took place. Portland, but yeah, it was Portland. And a wild Antifa man comes at one of the Proud Boys with a lead pipe. And this guy the Proud Boy takes a good whack in the arm, and then he just punches this guy and knocks him out cold. It's a beautiful video. It's the most heartwarming thing I've seen all day, to see these Antifas getting their asses handed to them on a plate. And they don't like that, and the media doesn't like that, and the Democrats don't like that. The lefties are trying to turn the Proud Boys into a modern Aryan Nation or Ku Klux Klan. They're nothing more than the Patriot Guard, but they're not riding motorcycles, John.
Yeah, and that's the thing the liberals do with everything. It's like, this is a nationalist, white supremacist group. I swear to you, I saw an article a while back that said, and this is how they phrased it, there have been allegations that the white boys are connected to white nationalist rhetoric. It's like, what? Wait, what? There are allegations that they're connected to white nationalist rhetoric. Are they white nationalists or not? If they're white nationalists, give us some proof. There's nothing on their webpage that indicates it. The people I know who are, Gavin McInnes is certainly not a white nationalist. They take in black and Hispanic and gay members. I mean, what do you want, dude? I mean, it's a thing where they would also say, you know, who else is a white nationalist? John Hawkins, Jaz McKay, Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, Donald Trump. They just go on and on. So this is just some group that they've picked out. And I got to tell you, I like the group. You know, if there wasn't a North or South Carolina chapter, I would probably join. I think it's a fun idea. And I don't think there are enough things like that. I mean, I've been to Republican club meetings. They tend to be people who are very old and very bored.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens at Republican clubs. I'm not saying, I say that in that they're not fun, but those are the people who get all the work done. So they're necessary, and they make things happen. But, I mean, if you want to go out and have fun, and you want to get a bunch of people together, this looks like a fun group of people.
It really does.
You know, that's the thing.
Like-minded patriots. That's what they're like-minded patriots. They love their country. Here's they said the basic tenet of the group is that we are Western chauvinists who refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. He says, like Archie Bunker, we long for the days when girls were girls and men were men. This wasn't controversial even 20 years ago, but being proud of Western culture today is like being a crippled, a black, a lesbian, or a communist in 1953. If there is, I mean, the political leanings of the Proud Boys, as far as the group is concerned, they range from libertarian all the way to hardcore conservatives. It's pretty across the political spectrum, with one exception, and that's communists. There are no commies in the Proud Boys. That's about it.
Obviously proving that they're a racist, sexist, horrible group, or else they would welcome commies who liberals do not support. That's how they do this, right? It's like, we don't support that, but obviously you're a bad person if you don't like them. That's their game. So, I think that what they're doing is very good and very necessary. I wish, I'd love to see more groups pop up like this. And, look, if I thought they were a white nationalist or white supremacist group, I wouldn't want anything to do with them.
No,
I think those guys are dirtbags. I've never liked them from the time I was a kid till now. So that just is what it is. But I'm glad to see this group getting out there. And it kind of reminds me, I have been reading. I don't know if you're familiar with Kurt Schlichter.
No.
Kurt Schlichter is an outstanding columnist. At Town Hall, where I was fired from for being too controversial, so screw those guys.
Yeah, right.
Kurt, I don't mind. Kurt is terrific. But he has a couple of novels out. One is called The People's Republic, and then the prequel is called Indian Country. And the basic premise of it is pretty interesting because it fits into something people have been talking about a lot. The premise of it is things just sort of reach a head, people can't get along, and the country splits in two. You have a red half and a blue half. And so you get to a point where people, not only the states split off, but people who want to go to each one immediately, they go. Like if you're sitting there in California and you're behind the blue line and you want to go somewhere else, you can always get in your car and drive to North Carolina. So what ends up happening after all this goes on is that, you get the worst, just imagine the worst people at Berkeley and San Francisco and that kind of thing, and they take over. I mean, they're the ones who are running the blue country, and pretty quickly it gets out of hand. It's a great, great book. But it talks about all the conflict that goes on, and the Proud Boy thing is one piece of it, in that you are seeing the place now where I would tell you, and this is my opinion, that if you go to a protest, you should be armed. I'm not saying with a gun necessarily. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good thing at all for the country. The best thing is just to let people say what they want to say and then sort it out. But we're getting to the point now where people, almost need to arm themselves, or I would say do need to arm themselves to go out and protest.
Yeah.
Not healthy, but, part of the problem is, too, that the police in so many places, in these liberal cities, are too sympathetic to these guys. They will let them run wild. They'll let them do all kinds of stuff. They'll turn their head. I mean, if you look at Charlottesville, where somebody got killed, to me, that's entirely the police that caused that. Because what happened was, they had two sides. You had the counter-protesters were armed, and the protesters were armed, because they've come to expect that. Hey, these protesters have gone to other protests. They've seen that they're up against armed people, so they arm themselves. The police let them go. They let them run wild, and people get hurt, and people get killed, and it get hurt. I should say, the one person got killed. But that's a result of letting this stuff escalate. When the police do their jobs, when the police say, no, you're not going to be walking around here in a mask threatening people. Yeah. No, you're not going to be. Yeah, I mean, what is this, the freaking Wild West? Are you Jesse? I mean, these guys are definitely not Jesse James, okay? Definitely not. But, okay, listen, you stick figure guy with a mask who's saying you're going to cut this guy's head off. You're going to have to get the paddy wagon. You know, I mean, that's what they should be doing. And when they let them run wild and they let them come out and do these kind of things, it gets out of control. And I'll tell you something else, the left encourages this stuff.
Yep,
if the left went out and they were genuinely appalled by violence, you would have this stuff would be done in no time because Antifa would fade away. They're the ones that cause all this. But it's like, like with the Proud Boys. I saw another article, it's like, from the Southern Poverty Law Center, which considers them a hate group, naturally. They consider everything a hate group. But they're like, the Proud Boys are going to a protest, and they believe that armed Antifa will be there. Therefore, they're trying to create another Charlottesville. It's like, well, wait, what about the armed, violent people that they're going there, they're going to be there from the left, that they don't count? Somehow, the fact that they don't want to get beaten with guys with pipes, and like the video you talked about, the guy knocked out a guy who was carrying a pipe and swung it at him. But the fact they don't want to get beaten down by these guys shows they're violent, shows they're causing the problem.
Because they practice self-defense. Yeah. They're considered to be violent because they practice self-defense, because they will defend themselves and other innocent people. John Hawkins with us, folks, formerly of Right Wing News. Let's take a break. We'll come right back. More with John Hawkins right here on the Jazz McKay Podcast Extravaganza from Kerncast.
Don't give it. Hey, don't give it to the Nazis. Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? You're racist.
Patriot Bail Bonds has the best customer service in Bakersfield. Patriot has more 5-star ratings than any bail company in Kern County. Plus, we're fast and affordable. If you run into the law, make Patriot Bail Bonds your first call. That's right, one call, that's all.
If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
And we're back. I'm Jaz McKay. It's Lugnut Larry sitting to my right. And, of course, running the board over there, we've got Goose. And on the phone, we've got John Hawkins. John, it's become mainstream now for these Democrats and these leftists to call for violence, hasn't it?
I think it's certainly become mainstream for them to call for harassment. Yeah. That is something that's, all right, go out and harass people in the street. Well, that can very easily lead to violence. When you get to the part where you're outside somebody's house and you're screaming at them, or you're yelling at them in a restaurant, or you're confronting them in the street, which, I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to live with each other if we turn every part of America into a red and blue war zone where, you're in a red area, buddy. Better get that Hillary shirt and get your crap out of here if you don't want to be hurt, Like we're gangs, you know?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you're in Crip territory, buddy. Don't be crabbing up in here. You know, I mean, I have no idea if that's the right gang terminology. I don't pay any attention to that stuff. Sorry, but anyway, you get the idea that, that's what they want to turn it into. And it's ridiculous.
They want to turn
a restaurant. Let's do it. It's just ridiculous.
Well, they want the violence, don't they? I mean, the left. When Maxine Waters, here's the latest, steps up and says that you should be out in the streets screaming about President Trump. She did this. She said this yesterday. She said, "I think Trump is dangerous, and I don't know why people don't get it. I think Americans should be out in the streets screaming at the top of their lungs. Do something. Make something happen. Trump is the most deplorable person I have ever encountered in my life." She wants violence, doesn't she? She wants to push conservatives to the point that we react and we respond in self-defense, creating violence, therefore they can turn around and point the finger at us when actually they instigate it.
Liberals, in my experience, have this idea that anything they do is okay, and anything people who disagree do with them is fascism and racism and da-da-da-da. So in a sense, when they say stuff like this, they think the people they're targeting are evil and they deserve it, but at the same time, they can never imagine the same thing happening to them. Wait, you mean like just because people are getting kicked out of restaurants and I would get kicked out of a restaurant? That's ridiculous. Or wait, Trump's horrible. You couldn't possibly feel the same way about Obama that I feel about Trump. Well, yeah, we actually could. I know it's strange for you. Or, certainly they should harass Republicans, but not Democrats. That's over the line.
No,
so this is where you get
they have nice intentions.
Yeah, you get people talking about new rules where, all right, well, we're going to have to make these liberals live up to the same rules they put on everybody else.
Right.
And, I think I don't like that. I mean, I wish it wasn't that way. But, at a certain point, what do you do? I mean, I used to have a kung fu teacher. Yeah, really. I did have a kung fu teacher back in college who told me, hey, the aggressors make the rules. If you're fighting somebody and that guy's going to try to kill you, you're probably going to have to kill him or die. Because the reality is, unless you're so incredibly talented, you can just, if you're a friggin' UFC fighter, no, you don't probably have to do that, but if somebody wants to rip your ear off, you better be ready to rip their ear off, because you're going to need that same level of intensity and violence to keep them off of you. Well, in a sense, liberals are setting the rules, and I wish they weren't like this, but they are, and so we've got to deal with it. And I think what you're starting to see is more and more people are going, well, we're going to have to make them play by their own rules. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, but, if America rewarded virtue, which it really doesn't do very much anymore, you wouldn't need that. I mean, if Americans went and said, you know what, I could see that these liberals are coddling Antifa. I think that's disgusting. We're going to have to penalize them for that. Or the sort of stuff Maxine Waters said. If the people in her district said, oh, that's appalling, we're voting you out, you wouldn't need to go this direction. But the reality is, people are okay with it. People are just, Osama bin Laden's comment about the strong horse, it's true everywhere. People back whoever they think the strong horse is. That includes Americans, that includes people overseas, and they don't really care about the niceties all that much. And that's just the reality of the world we live in.
And it's spreading. I mean, it's not just Maxine Waters now. We've got Cory Booker. He's a Democrat senator from New Jersey, saying the same kind of thing. Cory Booker was out there yesterday suggesting that he was at the National Conference on Ending Homelessness, and how this came up. I have no idea. They're talking about ending homelessness, and he starts talking about getting in the face of Congress. If you see a congressperson on the street, start screaming at them. Get up and get in their face. Make these Congress people cower in fear. And of course the people applaud. It's much like the crowd on The View. Who are these people, though, that are applauding and all of the applauding this? Are they that stupid that they don't realize that the Cory Bookers and the Maxine Waters out there are actually, they want violence, and they want one of their people to get injured or killed so they can turn around and point fingers at the conservative groups and say, look how you guys are being violent. Look what was going on during the Trump campaign, for the love of Pete. People would show up and attack Trump supporters coming out of a high school gymnasium, for instance, or wherever the Trump rally might be taking place, and literally pushing people to the point, violence, pushing people to the point of, it's like the ones that protest in this street, the ones that block traffic. They want one of their people to get run over by a car. They want this kind of bloodshed.
We have something in common.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Wow, that joke just died. Wow, that was a pretty good one, I thought. I probably went over the line for your podcast. Maybe.
Well, no, there is no over the line here on Kerncast, my friend. None whatsoever. John Hawkins is with us. John, you got rid of, or you sold off, or whatever it was. You divested yourself of rightwingnews.com. What have you been doing lately?
Well, actually, I do still own rightwingnews.com. It's at this point, it's just a vanity website. I'm doing 3 columns a week for PJ Media, so I'm cranking those out. I've started working on another book, which I'm very early into. I'm not going to get into too much because it's very early in the process. So that's basically what I've been working on, doing all that and trying to lose weight, which is very difficult because my hormones are messed up. But other than that, I'm just grinding away, man.
Blame the hormones. Yeah. It's my thyroid. That's the reason I'm fat. Goose, how about you?
I have a knife and fork problem.
We're talking with...
my bench press has gone up 50 pounds. So
what are you bench pressing now?
250.
Is that with a spotter helping you?
No, I don't need a... Well, I do use a spotter for the for 1 rep maxes. But yeah, I've done 250. No, he didn't help me. That's me pushing it up and down. I want to get up to 300 over the next 6 months or so. We'll see how that works out.
Well, take care of yourself, my brother. It is great talking to you. What's the name of the book that's currently on the market right now?
The currently on market one is 101 Things All Young Adults Should Know. It's a great book if you've got a teen, you got a guy a kid in college. They're ones that, it's a book that can really get them ahead of the curve, get them 20 years ahead of all the other kids in their class. It's good for them.
Yeah, it's good common sense. I couldn't agree more with John. I've got a copy of the book. I wish I had that book when my son was about 16 years old, to be honest with you. Because it's nothing but, you and I will sit and we won't even think about stuff like this because at our age, we learned this in the School of Hard Knocks. But here's a book which is very concise, The 101 Things All Young People Should Know by John Hawkins. And it's available at the usual places, John?
Absolutely. Just in fact, I would just suggest you get it on Amazon. That's the best place for it.
There you go. John Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen. John, it's just an absolute delight to be talking to you again as we forge ahead in our podcast career here with Larry and Goose and I. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your friendship, my brother.
Hey, you're a buddy, man. Anything I can do for you anytime, just ask.
Yeah, you want to send me some money?
Well, you can ask, but I'm going to say no.
Okay. John Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, John. We'll be right back. We've got more of the Jazz and McKay podcast extravaganza coming up as we forge ahead right here on Kerncast.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license is not going to suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Introducing the new California State Penitentiary Bologna Sandwich. Jail food sucks. Don't let your family eat jail food.
Hello and welcome to McDonald's. You've probably heard we're revamping our image.
But you may not know about all the wonderful new changes in store for our customers.
You've seen our hot new hipster hamburglar.
But have you seen the new Grimace? He used to be such a sourpuss.
But now he's a puss magnet.
We also have a new burger for all you tree huggers out there who are too snobby to eat fresh patties from enormous vats of ground up cows. The McCarrot burger. Healthy and delicious.
But don't worry, we've still got all the classics, like the Big Mac.
And we're not going to change the Big Mac or the special sauce inside it. Our founder's grandson's great-nephew Randy's been making it, whatever it is, for 45 years.
I make it at home in the back room, late at night.
Now let's talk dessert.
The apple filling in our baked apple pie was too hot for some people, so we replaced it with something a lot cooler. Gumballs. All right.
And of course, there have been a lot of questions about just what kind of fish is in the fillet of fish. It's fish, right?
Yeah, of course.
Definitely, it's a
fish! But we're not just updating the menu, we're upgrading the entire McXperience. Karen, do you remember those complaints from moms about the cleanliness of the ball pit at the play place?
I sure do, Jeff, but not to worry. Those ball pits will be scrubbed clean by our new global head of Play Place Cleanliness, Randy.
They told me I could legally wash the children's balls.
Whoa! Don't worry about how that sounds. Randy will only be allowed to clean when our locations are closed.
Dang it.
Wait a minute. We almost forgot about Ronald.
Studies show that Ronald McDonald actually scares the shit out of children, so he's now known as health expert Ronald McDoctor.
Hi. Nothing is healthier than eating at McDonald's. Try our gumball pies. They're very slimming.
Thanks, Doc. Hey, Jeff, isn't it about time for our jingle?
You mean, I'm loving it?
No, silly, the new one.
Oh, yeah. Hit it, Maestro.
Mickey D's, you have no other choice at the airport.
So come on down to the new McDonald's, which is now called Anywhere But McDonald's.
As in, where do you want to eat tonight, Jeff?
Anywhere but McDonald's.
Oh yeah, one more thing. You, Morgan Spurlock.
Dick.
Anywhere but McDonald's, you still have no other choice at the airport.
And there ain't no more Happy Meals neither, unless y'all beg me for it. You like to beg, don't you?
Barely ads, they're stupid fake commercials. Oh.
I could clean your
No,
workstation.
Randy.
It's clean.
Jeff, you want to step to me? Huh?
Jeff, I can take it. Jeff doesn't want you to touch me anymore.
And we're back here with you this afternoon on Current Cast. We're live. I'm Jaz and McKay along with Lugnut Larry here. And we're talking about Maxine Waters, and I wanted to, she's, apparently Maxine's on a mission from God, Larry. According to the Daily Caller, Maxine, she says that she made a speech, and in the speech, this video, by the way, just now surfaced yesterday. She's insinuating that God spoke to her and told her, sent her to said, "Go stop Trump." And the people in the audience, they go wild. They're loving it. Yeah. She said, "You got to know that I'm here to do the work that I was sent here by God to do." And as a pastor once said to me, when God sends you to do something, you must do it. So Maxine Waters calling for violence against conservatives and encouraging her followers and the left out there to attack people verbally and physically or get in their face and spit on them or whatever. That's God's work. Huh?
Yeah, well, she was...
No, what God she's worshiping there, Larry.
It's probably the one they denied 3 times at their convention. Yeah.
Could it be that same God?
That's the one I'm thinking. Well, they use God when it's convenient for
Well, I think what he's doing is he's sending her to do these things in hopes that somebody just punches her in the nose.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we need some Proud Boys to
either that
show
or,
up at a Maxine
maybe he wants her to meet her maker.
We're not calling for violence.
Yeah, no.
Did you hear that the rules of the DOJ have been changed?
There are rules of the DOJ. I didn't know
The
there were
rules
any
of the DOJ during the Obama administration were to refer to illegal aliens as what? Undocumented workers. That's officially been changed as of today. The
what do we
Justice
call them
Department,
now?
illegal aliens.
All right, we're back to illegal aliens.
We are back to illegal aliens. The Justice Department has instructed their attorneys to start using the phrase illegal aliens over the phrase undocumented immigrants.
Obama had struck all of those illegal aliens out of every piece of paperwork.
Every piece of legislation, every piece of paperwork, every instruction pamphlet, you know. The word undocumented is not based in U.S. code and should not be used to describe someone's illegal presence in this country. This according to a published email from a CNN article. The email also said that illegal alien is now the appropriate term for use for someone who comes into this country illegally and breaks all of our laws, immigration laws. So we're back to illegal aliens
I think
again.
I just heard the PC toilet flush.
Is that
yes. I heard it flush. Thank God.
We want to thank you so much for tuning in to Kerncast. And coming up later on this afternoon, Goose, tell everybody what's coming up next.
Later this afternoon, we have the Kelly Gladden show at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, Inga comes in, does her show, and then the thought leader, Denise Gary, comes in at 5.
Yeah, I can't wait.
She is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
You watch her?
Yeah.
That is without a doubt. I told her this the other day, and I wasn't just blowing smoke up her skirt. But I said, Denise, you are the best talk.
You ought to check her out.
The best talk in Bakersfield, by far. Mm-hmm. By far. I mean, this includes all the quote-unquote professionals who are doing talk radio. Mm-hmm. She is absolutely phenomenal.
And we just worked out to where she will be on iTunes very quickly. But probably within the end of this week, she'll be on iTunes.
You know, we ought to have a YouTube channel, too, of all of our broadcasts.
I've been actually loading our shows on our Kerncast channel on YouTube. I've just been behind a couple days because I've been...
I know. I keep this guy, poor Goose, I keep this guy busy because when I sit at home going through videos that I want to use on the show, I'll end up sending you like 20 or 30 videos for you to download. And I know that takes a long time, and I apologize.
No, I will apologize. It's actually funny because we were talking last night, and my daughter's sitting right next to me. She's like, and we're just laughing and having a good time, and I finally get off the phone, and she goes, "Who were you talking to?" And I go, "Jaz McKay." Jaz McKay? You mean the guy you used to listen to on the radio? I go, that Jaz McKay. You work with the guy now that you used to live on the radio? Yes, honey, I work with the guy.
Bless her heart.
So she's, because we would listen to your show during while I was driving them around, picking them up from school and everything.
Right. That's what a lot of kids have heard the show because of that.
And I mostly listen because you do kick-ass interviews. Some of the best. A lot of the people you interview, like John Hawkins, I loved listening to because you guys brought a lot of sense to the chaos.
Well, the thing of it is, what I do, I went to a broadcasting school back in the 1970s where they taught you the 5 levels of interviewing or some crap like that, which I promptly just wadded up and tossed into the trash. I prefer having conversations with people. I don't want to do a straight-up interview where you ask questions and get answered, and then if they don't answer the question, you move on. Mm-hmm. No, you have a conversation with people, and you get them in. Well, it's been a blast. We will be taking a few days off, and what do you got coming up? Tonight is Chewy's, right?
Tonight is Chewy's. We have Matt Day coming out there. He's going to be racing at the Speedway this coming Saturday, so we'll have one of those USC sprint cars out there. Oh,
nice.
He'll be right next to Cameron Perryman, the young guy who is trying to get 500 pairs of shoes, and we had him on the radio yesterday, and the TV had him on, and one of the Valley banks around here actually picked him up, so hopefully he'll meet that goal of 500 pairs of shoes. Yep, Chewy's tonight, and the Crest Bar and Grill on Saturday morning for coffee and cars.
All kinds of cars, beautiful cars, muscle cars, classic cars, hot rods, trucks,
imports,
diesels,
Diesels.
Little
Military.
Little Datsun 240Zs.
Law enforcement. You'll see it all.
All kinds of stuff there at Chewy's tonight, and of course at the Crest, former Crest Drive-In, which I think is, I love that place.
Oh man, it's awesome.
That is, if you've never been to the Crest, it's on Weibel Road.
5025 Weibel Road.
Make it a point to go there.
Eat
for
there.
lunch. Go there for dinner. The food is outstanding.
You'll lick other people's fingers.
And be sure to make it out to Chewy's tonight and see Lugnut Larry and all the great cars that are on display. Goose, what do you got coming up this weekend?
I'm working.
Good for you.
Poor Goose. How many days a week do you work?
Between the two jobs?
Yeah.
About 6-7 days a week.
I do 17.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
It's
strange when you have a day off.
I work at the other radio station.
The other radio station?
I like to say, because we have so many people here that have worked for KNZR. It's like I work for the other. It's like what Johnny Carson used to say. We're here. He's here to talk about a show on another channel,
another network, right?
So I work for American General Media. I do a lot of the production work as far as national ads.
Good folks over at AGM. I worked for AGM many years ago.
And I put in about 15 hours a week there, and then I put in about 30 hours a week here. So I'm busy.
He's busting his ass. Hardest working men in broadcasting right here. Me? Yeah, not so much. We have doctor's appointments and blood work that needs to be done for Laura, and planning on just relaxing this weekend and watching a little racing. Where are they at? Where is NASCAR at this weekend? I
have no idea, but maybe find out.
By the way, congratulations.
What's his face?
What's his name?
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, local guy.
Last week, six wins this year. 6, actually 7 if you count the Coca-Cola 600.
Mm-hmm.
If you count the non-points races, he's actually got 7 wins. But he overtook Kyle Busch there at the end of the race this past Sunday. Very exciting stuff.
They will be at the Pocono Raceway.
They're at the Big Triangle in Pocono this weekend, so I'll be watching that for sure. I hope you guys have a terrific weekend. We'll be back next Tuesday with more fun and cat squall in action right here on the Jazz McKay Podcast Extravaganza on Kerncast. Yeah, buddy. God bless America.